What's going on, guys? Yesterday's session was interesting to say the least. I'm definitely making some progress, and the split squats and Romanian deadlifts are starting to feel pretty comfortable. I know that I'm not lifting crazy amounts of weight. I've stripped it back to, I think, 40 kilos was the main working weight for this session. So it's 3 weeks into the 4 week meso cycle, I'm pretty sure, which means that next week will be 42.5 kilos for 3 reps, and then I'm going to go back up to 6 reps and hit 37.5 kilos, which seems like a big change in volume for a minor change in weight. And I'm just considering maybe I need to change up the intervals a little bit, but I should be fine to do 37.5 for 6, and then the next meso cycle will finish on 45 kilos. So next week I'll be hitting 42.5. Next month it'll be 45, and so slowly but surely the split squats will progress. However, I have found in the past that usually 2, 3, 4 months into a program, when I get into a really good routine, get into a really good groove, my body's used to it, I'm not getting sore, that's when I can increase the numbers a bit quicker. So I think eventually I'll be progressing quicker than that. And getting up into the 60 kilos plus, hopefully within the next 6 months on the split squats. So we'll see how it goes, but it's just mobility at the moment that's holding me back, and also my body is still readapting to training in general, running, all of that. So yesterday was the weight session that I'm recording now, but the day before, the Saturday, was very tough. I did another weighted sled sprinting session, but the variables of that session were increased, so naturally I was a bit sore. The sprinting distance was increased by half as well, so it was 50% increase in the distance that I was sprinting with the sled, and the weight stayed roughly the same. So it's a big increase in load, and also there were plyometrics added to the session, so I was pretty sore. But I just had this feeling that, if I got in and I did the session, got some blood in there, as Ivan Churic says all the time. I love that guy. He's a real inspiration to people. Just you see him doing things every day, and you think, well, what's my excuse? I don't have one, I don't have a real excuse. So, I got in there and I did the workout. 4 sets for the main exercises. Last session I did 3 sets and just backed off a little bit because I think I needed to, and that was probably a good call because I was feeling better the next day after that. So I'm back at 4 sets for the core exercises today, and felt good. I'm glad that I got through it. The isolation exercises, the accessory exercises, so the leg extension, the leg curl, they were 2 sets again. I did have some targeted soreness in the quads, so I thought, didn't want to push it on the accessory exercises, just get the main lifts in. Those are where I'm really going to see strength gains, and the isolation exercises is just more to give that muscle some blood flow. I'm not really trying to go into much of a muscle hypertrophy with the isolation exercises at the moment. It's just more reconditioning that muscle to some extra work. Because I've had a year off of football, I need to recondition the muscles in my thigh to get them ready for running, jumping, kicking, all of that stuff again. So I think my balance felt a little bit better as well with the single leg RDLs. Still not perfect. I still had to readjust a few times, but it was pretty decent, to be honest. The adductor work, I kept it the same as a week ago. 3 sets on that weird quad pulley machine with the weird weight stack. So, you put it under 61 kilos, but it feels like 30 on a normal machine. So it's just strange. But I'm considering getting into supplementation as well, just to help me recover. I don't really do supplementation much with protein and creatine. Those are the main ones that I've done in the past. You can actually see my anterior pelvic tilt now on the single leg RDLs. As I come up, you can see that my back is arched and my stomach sticking out a little bit, which is annoying, but it's just something I'm trying to work on. But yeah, I'm thinking of getting the supplements going again. Probably, maybe it helps an extra 5%, but if it helps 5%, then you might as well do it. And not even so much 5% in your performance or your results, but just how you feel. It's how well you recover from the workouts. And I've been on a wild goose chase trying to find the old protein powder that I used to take, which is called Muscle Milk, and purely only because of the taste. It's the easiest protein powder for me to drink. Taste-wise, it tastes like chocolate milk. It doesn't actually taste like protein powder. And there's no banned substances in it, like it's checked for all of that stuff. Whereas some of the American brands, I think they're a little bit less strict than some of the stuff that they have in those is actually on the banned substance list in Australia, especially for competing athletes. So it's it's just a bit of a risk, and I think some people overlook that. But I don't think anybody's actually been checked up on it or had a bad drug test or anything like that. But anyway. So yeah, protein and creatine will be the main ones. I do take other stuff like magnesium just for recovery, and it usually helps me sleep. And I actually really like magnesium. I think it's good for getting your muscles to relax at the end of the day. It does help me sleep better, to be honest, on the nights that I take it versus the nights that I don't. And creatine, I have to be a bit careful with. I've taken it in the past. It really helps for explosiveness, I find, and power, which is obviously good for me. But again, it causes you to retain water. It causes you to have to drink a lot more water, and it's just a bit hard on your body when you load. Some people recommend loading creatine, so you take 20 grams, I think, per day for the first week, and then you ease it off to 5 grams after that. And this is the leg extension where I put the phone against the wall, but the phone was slipping, and you're going to see it fall probably in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it's starting to slip now, you can see it. But the countdown didn't really work. But yeah, this set was a total write-off, so ignore this set. There was nothing filmed. I was just, I thought it would be a good place to put the phone, but obviously not. There it goes. And I resorted to putting it across against the other machine. Now, this that I do with the leg extensions, where I prop one leg up onto the pad, I find it really helps because it forces you to sit deeper into the chair. And also, it gives you a posterior pelvic tilt, which, if you know what a posterior pelvic tilt is, imagine your pelvis as a bucket. You're tipping the bucket backwards, right? So the posterior pelvic tilt that you force yourself into in that position puts the rectus femoris, which is the top muscle of the quadriceps, that is also a hip flexor, it puts the rectus femoris in a slightly more stretched position. So you're targeting the muscle under resistance at a slightly longer length, which I think is important, especially for me, because it helps with that kicking motion. I've had some injury history to the rectus femoris, and I think that doing some targeted work there, like I was with the leg extension, is really going to help. And again, with the hamstring curls, this machine felt pretty good. The leg extension machine that I was just doing before felt much better than the previous week that I was at this gym, where I used a different one. But that machine that I was using felt pretty good. I like the standing hamstring curl. I don't really like the sitting one. But I guess that really comes down to personal preference. I don't think there's that many. I mean, I can check. There's probably maybe some studies on, the different kinds of hamstring curl machines and how they affect your development. But for me, it's not really that much of a concern because, the hamstring curl isn't the bulk of my hamstring development. The the most prominent hamstring work that I do is sprinting, to be honest. And then after that, you've got the Nordics and the RDLs. And so the hamstring curl is not really the main focus of my hamstring development. It's just an isolation, accessory. And yeah, it's nothing special. Definitely helps, especially I think if you're a all these thigh muscle isolation exercises and all this work that I'm doing to increase muscular development in the thigh, anything from the hip to the knee, I think it's really important for footballers and field sport athletes where there's changes of direction, because if you think about it, you're actively trying to add muscle to your thighs, which are, for most people, below their center of mass. And so when you add muscle and you add weight to your thighs, you're effectively lowering that center point of mass. And so that lowering of the center of mass helps with balance, change of direction. In football especially, it helps you shield the ball from other people if you have a low center of gravity. If you look at footballers like Eden Hazard, Lionel Messi, these players have that sort of build where it's a low center of gravity, really good muscular development in the thighs and down, not so much in the upper body because they don't need it. So their center of gravity in their body is designed for how they play, and they play taking advantage of their physical attributes. Now, as far as their own awareness of this, or how much people train these specific qualities for those reasons, I'm not sure. Only some people that I've spoken to are actually aware of it, even as a concept, putting muscle on the lower body as a means of manipulating the center of mass. Not many people talk about it. I think it should be talked about more. I should probably trademark it somehow and sell a program based off it, but maybe that's something to do for the future. But anyway, there's a whole lot of other things that come into it, like power to weight ratio as well, and that can be affected negatively by doing the wrong exercises. I'm trying to affect it positively eventually by doing the right exercises, but my program at the moment isn't really geared towards power to weight. It's more so a general preparation and conditioning for the legs to get used to doing work again. Eventually, when I do shift into more of a maximal strength focus, I'll also incorporate some power stuff as well. Thanks for bearing with me if you've made it this far. Subscribe if you thought this video provided you with any value if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.